Welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are at in the world. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. We're really excited to be here to discuss Rutgers-New Brunswick, one of our newest partners, which we are super excited about. My name is Shannon Soto, for those of you who don't know me, and I am a Director of Enrollment Management with Shorelight, working on the member university side. So I have a portfolio of schools that I manage, and Rutgers-New Brunswick is one of those schools. And so I'm just delighted to be here today with Sarah Blackburn. She is the Director of International Admissions at Rutgers-New Brunswick, and she's going to be sharing with us about this wonderful university. So I'll pass the floor over to her in just a few moments. I wanted to just go over a couple of housekeeping items. Please feel free to ask questions throughout this webinar through the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You can submit questions throughout. I'll do my best to answer them as we go through if I know the answers. However, if not, once Sarah is finished with the presentation, we will answer the remaining questions and any new ones that come through. So again, please use the Q&A question feature rather than just the regular Zoom chat. All right, well, with that, I will go ahead and pass the floor over to Sarah. Sarah, please take it over. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that fantastic introduction, and thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. So as Shannon mentioned, my name is Sarah Blackburn. I'm the Director of International Admissions at Rutgers University, New Brunswick. I oversee recruitment, admissions, and initial immigration advising for incoming international students, and I've been with the university for 8 years and counting. We are a large public Research One institution located in central New Jersey. We're ranked number 41 in U.S. News and World Report, and that makes us the 15th public university in the U.S. Rutgers is a unique, highly competitive, and storied institution, and I'm so glad to be able to be here to tell you a little bit more about Rutgers-New Brunswick. Rutgers, or as we were known then, Queens College, offered their first class in 1766, 10 years before the United States was founded. We are the 8th oldest institution in the United States and one of only 9 colonial colleges that were founded before the Declaration of Independence was signed. You might be wondering why you or your students should care about this. To me, what I think it means is that we've been educating students and doing it well for a long time. It also means that we were the first to offer many of the academic areas that we offer as majors at Rutgers, and that many other universities sort of modeled their programs, their structures after Rutgers and universities like us. It means that a Rutgers degree carries with it more than 250 years of research and expertise. Rutgers is located on the banks of the Raritan River in the heart of New Jersey. You can see our location as the white R on the map there. We're a 45-minute train ride from New York City, and we use that as an extension of our classroom all the time for internships, jobs, and research opportunities, and of course for fun as well, because if you're bored that close to New York City, there's not much we can do to help you have fun. The train station is right on campus, and New Jersey Transit offers discounted and sometimes free tickets for students. We also are a 90-minute train ride from Philadelphia and 4 hours from Washington, D.C., 5 hours from Boston. So we're in a great location for students that might be looking to explore the northeastern corridor of the U.S. Our campus map itself is very unique from other schools in that our campus is broken down into 5 distinct campuses, as you can see on the map on the left portion of the slide. We refer to each as their own neighborhood, and they all have a very different look and feel. The Bush campus is sort of like a corporate research facility. It's our hub for technology and sports. It's where you would find the School of Engineering, the Department of Computer Science, and our 52,000 person football stadium. Livingston has a more suburban atmosphere, and that's home to its own movie theater, a traditional New Jersey diner, and the Rutgers Business School. College Avenue is in the heart of downtown New Brunswick, so it definitely has the most city-like atmosphere. It's also where the original campus was housed, so that's where you would find all of the traditional brick and mortar buildings that you would expect from a university that's as old as Rutgers. Cook and Douglas campuses are two campuses that are adjacent to one another. Those offer fields, rolling hills, a beautiful pond that we have a photo of here that we call Passion Puddle, and a working farm. Cook and Douglas are home to the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, the Douglas Residential College for Women, the Mason Gross School of the Arts, and the Eagleton Center for Politics. Each of the 5 campuses are self-sustaining. So that means that you'd have all the facilities that you would need as a student. They have their own dining halls, libraries, dormitories, gyms, classroom spaces. But as a student, you have access to all of them, regardless of which campus you live on. We have a free bus system that takes students from campus to campus around our small group of cities. So if you're not interested in what they're serving in the dining hall that's closest to your dorm, you can hop on the bus and eat elsewhere. When we think about who we're looking for as a Rutgers student, we're looking for students that are most successful when they take advantage of everything that a big school has to offer them. That means diversity of the student body, of our academic programs, and of course of opportunity as well. So let's unpack that a little bit. We have more than 36,000 undergraduate students on campus, and with our graduate student population together, more than 7,000 international students on campus. So it's a very diverse atmosphere. I think international students feel very comfortable. We offer more than 800 student-led organizations, and those range from academic programs where our Business Student Association, or to things that have very little to do with academics, like our Companion Animal Club, where students are allowed to live in their dormitory and train seeing eye puppies. So look forward to perhaps having some of those in your classes. Our 52 residence halls are home to more than 16,000 students on campus. So there's tons of opportunities for students who are looking to have a residential experience, although we do not require students to live on campus. When it comes to academics, we offer more than 120 different majors and more than 250 minors. So there's definitely something for everyone. Over 40 of our majors are ranked within the top 50 by US News and World Report, including some that are very popular with our international student population: computer science, mathematics, physics, engineering, business, and more. Rather than admitting students directly to a major or a program, we do review them for admission to the school of their choice. So we have 7 schools that are open to first-year students, and I'll touch on each of those briefly. Our School of Arts and Sciences is the largest school, and that houses about 70 of our 100 or so majors. The most popular programs within SAS are computer science, economics, psychology, biological sciences, and our most popular major at Rutgers by far, which is I don't know yet, or undecided. We encourage students who are unsure of what they would like to study to start in the School of Arts and Sciences, as most of the foundational courses required for the professional schools are housed within the School of Arts and Sciences. The Rutgers Business School offers 6 different concentrations: accounting, finance, marketing, leadership management, supply chain management, and business analytics and information technology. Our proximity to New York, I think, is critical for students who are studying business. One of the most exciting opportunities that's offered through the business school is called our Road to Wall Street program. This takes 55 sophomore students and gives them a crash course in financial markets, networking, and all things finance and management. Students in this program they receive one-on-one counseling from the program director. They have a summer training and preparation program that they go through before the start of the semester. They take a financial modeling course, but I think the most important piece of the program is peer and alumni mentoring. So students are paired with someone who's working in their intended field, and the mentors range anywhere from associates to managing directors and CEOs. And these folks act as an advisor and a mentor for the whole time that they're in the program, as well as the rest of the time that they remain at Rutgers. The School of Engineering offers 14 different concentrations, including aerospace, mechanical, biomedical, bioenvironmental, electrical, computer engineering, and so on. Students in the School of Engineering will have to take a crash course their first year. We call it Exposure to Engineering, and students are taught by 14 different faculty, one from every single department that we offer at Rutgers. This is meant to expose them to any of the concentrations that we offer, the research opportunities, career opportunities that may be available in those majors, and then they will select their intended major or course of study in the School of Engineering after they've taken that class. All graduates of the School of Engineering are required to either conduct their own research or pursue an internship in order to graduate. And you'll find that that's common for many of our majors at Rutgers. The Ernest Mario School of Pharmacy is a direct entry 6-year program where students will earn their Doctor of Pharmacy degree. Students are guaranteed clinical placements, and many of the graduates will actually go on to work at Johnson & Johnson, whose international headquarters is right down the street from our campus on College Avenue, or one of the many other pharmaceutical companies that are located in New Jersey, which is considered to be the chemistry capital of the US. The Mason Gross School of the Arts is our arts conservatory, and they offer Bachelor's of Fine Arts programs as well as a Bachelor's of Music. Students do need to audition or provide a portfolio in order to be considered for these programs. Again, I think proximity to New York is crucial for students who are looking to enter a professional career in music, dance, film, or theater. The School of Environmental and Biological Sciences offers some of our more specialized majors in the sciences, like food science, agriculture, environmental science, meteorology, and so on. We also offer an animal science major as well, which is very popular. Students will study everything from microorganisms to the changing climates, land, air, ocean, food, plants. And my absolute favorite Rutgers alumni graduated from the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. They were the creator of the Doritos Locos Taco, which is something that's sold at Taco Bell here in the States. We also offer 4 upper division schools that students have the opportunity to transition to after their first year at Rutgers. So that's our School of Management and Labor Relations. They offer programs in human resource management, labor studies. The Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy offers public policy, urban planning and design, public health, health administration. We have a School of Social Work, which is a Bachelor's of Social Work program. That means that students who wish to go on to study a Master's of Social Work can receive advanced standing and complete that master's program in just 1 year. School of Communication and Information, they offer programs in communication, journalism, broadcasting, information technology. And students who are interested in any of these programs are encouraged to apply to our School of Arts and Sciences. That's where they would take the required foundational coursework in order to eventually make a transition into these programs. While we are certainly a large school, we're pretty good at spreading students around. Our student to faculty ratio is 16:1, and more than 60% of the courses that we offer have fewer than 30 students. As I mentioned, the vast majority of our majors are going to require some form of an experiential learning component, whether that's an internship, a research opportunity, or a study abroad program in order for students to graduate. And we assist them with that in a variety of ways. I'll touch on the Career Center a bit more in a subsequent slide, but would love to spend some time talking a bit about some of the other things that are mentioned here, like our research centers. We have an entire department dedicated to assisting undergraduate students with finding research opportunities on campus. So students can enter there as early as their freshman year and say, hi, I'm interested in doing research in history. And they'll give you a full list of all the faculty members, doctoral students, graduate students that are doing research in those areas and who have specifically said, I'd like an undergraduate student to assist me with these projects. That same department will also encourage and help students that are interested in applying for research funding of their own in their junior or senior year so that they might conduct their own university level research project prior even to applying to graduate school. We have some pass-fail classes that are open only to first-year students. These are called Burn seminars. These are also arranged by the Aresti Research Center. These are basically opportunities for students to follow a faculty member around for their first semester. So through that program, students will have exposure to any of the clinical research sites that the faculty are using. Sometimes they're very much outside of the classroom experiences. For example, one that was offered a few years ago was following a sociology professor who is doing research on the murals in the city of New Brunswick. So students spend a lot of their time walking around the city, looking at the murals and speaking with the artists who might have created them. So this is a great way for students to network with faculty in their academic area early on. Whether that person is doing research in a specific area of interest, they may also know another faculty member that might be doing research in the same or similar area. So it's a great opportunity for students to get exposure to how research is done at the collegiate level and also to network a little bit with faculty. We offer an honors college, and students have the option of applying to that as incoming first-year students. It's only open to first-time students, and there is a question on the application that students must answer in order to receive consideration for that program. All students at Rutgers have a core curriculum that they'll have to take, and students in the Honors College take a separate version of that that's only for those students. There is a residential component to that program. Students all live in the same dormitory their first year. There is a faculty member in residence there. So it's, again, another great way for students to get some deep connections with faculty. When we think about study abroad, we offer over 180 different programs on all 5 continents. So students have options of going just about anywhere. We have short-term programs that students have access to, so you may wish to do your study abroad over the summer or perhaps over a spring or winter break. And of course, semester-long and year-long programs that students have access to as well in just about every major. One of the other nice things about attending a school like Rutgers is that we also share study abroad programs with some of our other Big Ten counterparts. So if a student is really looking to go to a particular country or study a particular area and we don't offer it within our own programs at Rutgers, they may be able to travel with another school, Ohio State, Michigan State, to study that study abroad program and have the credits easily transfer back to Rutgers. We received more than 750 million on research grants and programs last year, and that research is going on to do some pretty incredible things. We're the first to issue a rapid COVID test that was put on the market in April 2020, and there have been just over 100 startup companies that were built on Rutgers research. When it comes to success after graduation, our students are certainly finding it. We have more than 6,500 employers that visit Rutgers each year, coming to our career fairs, soliciting students for internships, and recruiting students on campus. Some of them even host interviews right on campus. Our location, again, being so close to New York, is a huge benefit for international students in particular because it means that you have access to internships at global companies that will lead to jobs at home and away once you have a Rutgers degree in hand. One of the other unique things about our Center for Career Exploration and Success is that students have access to advisors who are experts in their intended field or academic area. At most universities, you may just walk in and meet with whichever career advisor happens to be available when you come to the center. But for us, that's not the case. You're going to perhaps wait a few more minutes, but that is so that you can meet with someone who actually has expertise in the area that you're looking to study. They know which companies are hiring our students in those particular areas. They know what types of jobs students are going into, particularly helpful, I think, for students in those more nebulous majors like psychology. You can do anything with psychology. So getting a better understanding of what the sort of entry-level job opportunities may be for a student in that particular area. There are also a handful of those advisors that work with our most popular major, I don't know yet, or undecided. Those folks specialize in helping students to sort of identify their passions and their strengths and figure out what major and what career path might be best for them, which I think is, a great source of solace for parents that might, be hearing the words undecided and have some concerns about that. We also have several advisors in the Career Center for Exploration and Success that work specifically with our international students. So those folks understand the specific challenges that those students face when it comes to employment at home or in the US. And we definitely feel that this support is critical to ensuring that students land in positions where they will be happy and successful. So now that you know a bit more about the university, I'd love to talk a little bit more about the application process itself. So applying to Rutgers via Shorelight is a 2-step process where students will first complete the Shorelight application and then are requested to complete the Rutgers application and share all of their requested supplemental information with us there. So students will apply on our Rutgers application. For those that are still completing their high school studies, we ask that they self-report their grades using our self-reported academic record form. There is an additional step that needs to be completed once students submit the self-reported academic record. And they've submitted the Rutgers application, they will have to link the two. That's done by logging into the Rutgers portal and clicking on the hyperlink there to link the self-reported academic record. It will take students to the SRAR login page, and they'll just have to log in again and press submit, and that is what will actually make sure that we receive that information. We send tons of reminders about this to students and are happy to field questions about it. For students who have graduated from high school but have not yet started university studies, we ask for an official final transcript. So we'll need to have that copy. For students that are studying university currently, we ask for copies of all of their transcripts for any colleges and universities attended. An unofficial copy is okay for the purposes of reviewing a student for admission, but we will, of course, need an official copy in order to provide a credit evaluation. SAT or ACT scores are optional for fall 2025. We have not yet made a more permanent policy on that. We were waiting to get 5 years of data before we made a determination about whether or not we would continue to require SAT scores. So we hope to have a decision about that sometime this academic year. In the meantime, it's totally up to students whether they wish to submit test scores or not. And we do have our admissions profile readily available on the website that shows the middle 50% for students so they can see sort of what the ranges are for test score admissibility. We do require both SAT, ACT, and English language proficiency exam scores be sent officially from the testing agencies. So we can't accept self-reported scores. We can't accept unofficial copies. We do need the official exam scores sent directly from the testing agency. English language proficiency exam scores are required for the vast majority of our international applicants. We may waive on a case-by-case basis depending on where students have studied, and happy to address questions about individual students over email there. As far as our deadlines are concerned, early action is our deadline for the fall semester, November 1. We expect that students who apply by this deadline will receive a decision by the end of January. Regular decision deadline is December 1st. For first-year students, who apply by that December 1 deadline will receive their decision by the end of February at the latest. For first-year students, we typically stop accepting applications sometime in mid-January, but of course, students who apply after those deadlines, we can't guarantee a timeline on when a decision might be shared with the student. So definitely encourage students to apply by those deadlines. For spring, the deadline was October 1st, but we are still accepting applications on a space available basis there. One other thing that I'll note actually about the application process, but before I move on to addressing any questions that folks might have, is that when students are applying, they have the option of selecting up to 3 schools on the application within Rutgers that they'd like to apply to. So that applies to all of our campuses. Students have the option to select schools within Rutgers-Camden, Rutgers-New Brunswick, or Rutgers-Newark. They can also select several schools within, just the New Brunswick system if that's the preference. We encourage students to do this. It just increases their opportunities to be considered for admission for more programs. So do note that you don't have to select just one program. You can select multiple. Okay. Well, with that in mind, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and perhaps we can address some questions that folks might have.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. That was really informative. Lots of good information. And one thing I'll get to that in a little bit, just with the application process for Shorelight students as well, just a reminder for our teams. Actually, I'll go ahead and do that now. For those of you working with Shorelight on this call, agents, your first step is to submit the application via the Shorelight application. We will review, our admissions team will review, and if the student meets the criteria that we've been given for Rutgers-New Brunswick, the student basically will be just deemed eligible to apply to Rutgers-New Brunswick. And so at that point, once that has happened, we will flip that application to Rutgers. And the student, please note, the student will receive an email coming from Shorelight that provides them with next steps on where to submit the Rutgers app. It will have a link, it will have instructions, and so they need to do that to then submit the Rutgers app directly in order to be able to be reviewed and get a decision. So just a reminder on that process there. Okay. So we can jump into some questions. I answered a few, Sarah, but there's some coming in I wasn't sure of. Question number 1, when can students apply for honors programs?
So only open to students who are applying for the fall semester. And it's a part of the application process itself. So when students are applying to Rutgers, there will be a question on the application. Are you interested in being considered for honors programs? Students who say yes do have to write a supplemental essay. So there is an additional 500-word prompt that students would need to complete, but that's how you apply for our honors programs in the Honors College at Rutgers.
Okay, excellent. It's part of the application. Are there additional scholarships available for students who receive admission to Honors College?
Yes, usually an honors college invitation does come along with a scholarship offer. For our international applicants, those can range anywhere from $10,000. We do usually offer a handful of full tuition scholarships each year. So that would be the maximum.
Okay. Next question, is Rutgers Medical School open for international students? Would attending Rutgers, New Brunswick give students more leverage?
Rutgers Medical Schools, neither of them accept international students. Of course, I'm sure you guys are aware that this is sort of a common practice in the U.S. in part because most of our med schools receive federal funding. So no, unfortunately not. We do have a very comprehensive pre-health advising office, though, that works with our international students that are interested in applying to anything in the health professions, be it medical school, dental school, veterinary school, so on. And they are aware of which schools in the U.S. do accept international students, can sort of help drive students towards those applications.
Okay, great. Yes, and as Sarah said, it is rare that medical schools in the U.S. will accept international students. There are some that do, but yes, it is a little bit more rare. All right, I hadn't had a chance to look up these majors. Do you all have kinesiology and physical therapy, and are they open to international students?
Yes and yes. So kinesiology is going to be an undergraduate major that we offer. PT, of course, is a graduate level program in the US. So students would be applying for the PT program at the grad school level. And yes, most students are studying kinesiology or exercise science as their undergraduate major if they're looking to pursue that program. And yes, both are open to international students.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. One of the most popular questions we get, what is the turnaround time for admission in I-20? I'm sure you get that question a lot too.
Yeah, we certainly do. We certainly do. And the timeline is kind of different from semester to semester. So let me go ahead and share a little bit first about the spring, and then we can talk about the fall. For the spring applications, we are already reviewing and issuing decisions for students that have complete applications. So if any of you folks who are on here are wondering about decisions for students, it's likely that the application was incomplete if they haven't received a decision at this time. So please encourage the student to check their portal or confirm that they've applied and submitted the Rutgers application to the correct schools and programs. We'd be happy to touch base, with Shannon about particular students if needed. As far as the I-20s are concerned, we have not started issuing I-20s for our spring cohort. We expect to do that later this month. Students will receive an email once we are open to accepting I-20 applications, and usually the turnaround time is anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks for us to issue an I-20 to a student. For fall, release of decisions is consistent across all students. So if you apply for that November 1st deadline, you can expect to receive a decision at the end of January. If you apply for that December 1st deadline, you can expect to receive the decision by the end of February. Any students who apply after the deadlines, it's sort of up in the air. We will review the application when we have the ability to do so, but the decision certainly won't come anytime before the beginning of March. As far as, again, I-20s are concerned, we begin issuing for our fall students usually sometime in February. We usually aim for around Valentine's Day. We say we love I-20s, and that's why we do it then. So that's when we'll start issuing for our incoming fall students. Turnaround time really varies depending on when students are submitting the application. Students who are doing it early, likely they can receive their I-20 within 2 weeks. Students that are applying for their I-20 on May 1st, which is our enrollment deadline, it's likely that it's going to take closer to 4 weeks or longer, depending on the volume we're experiencing at that time. So best piece of advice I can give is to provide a correct and comprehensive application as soon as possible in order to receive your I-20 as quickly as possible.
Yes, and I echo that. Please, please, please make sure that the apps are complete, that the student has submitted all the documents, and not the Shorelight app, yes, but more importantly than for the Rutgers application that must be completed. And again, everyone on this call, please note that as Sarah mentioned, the students, they can see anything that's missing in their portal, in their Rutgers portal. So please, please, please encourage them to log in and to see anything that's missing to get those documents submitted, or else they will not be reviewed and they will not get a decision. And Sarah, I was trying to take notes. Can you just back to spring on the I-20 issuance? When did you say that will start?
Later this month.
Okay.
Students have not yet received the instructions, so they'll receive those sometime later this month, and then we'll start issuing, I would say, probably the first week of November.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. This question, I think you touched on it a little bit already. Can a student switch campuses if they are not accepted into New Brunswick at first? So I guess they've applied, they've listed New Brunswick as their first choice. I'm assuming, let's say in this situation, they've then listed Camden or one of their schools. What does that process look like?
We ask students to apply for what we call a school-to-school transfer. So there's a separate application process, and that happens at the end of each year. So students would need to, if you've started in the fall, you would be applying in the spring for that campus change to take effect the following fall. This is the same process that we would ask students to go through if they had started in our School of Arts and Sciences, for example, at New Brunswick and wanted to switch to the School of Engineering. There are specific courses that students need to complete in order to make a shift from one campus to another. So all of that information is outlined pretty clearly on the website. If you just search, Rutgers school-to-school transfer, it should all come up. But that's how that process works. It's possible, but students do need to make sure that they're adhering to the guidelines and taking the required coursework in order to do it.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. And follow up on that, a common question that I've gotten is when they're applying on the Rutgers application, is it the best for them to put their number one choice for school, and number one program as the first option, and then any other options after that? So like if they put New Brunswick first, they'd be reviewed for that program. If not admitted, do they then kind of fall into being reviewed by another school?
That's a great question. That's a great question. It is important to list the first choice school, but not for the reason that you just shared.
Okay.
So we review students separately for each school that's been listed, and consideration is equal for each. It doesn't matter what order you list the programs. We will consider you separately for each program listed, and fairly regardless of the order in which you put them. However, the order of applications does matter for honors and for scholarship review. For our first year students, we will only consider you for honors for the school that you've listed first.
Okay, only consider honors. Okay, or scholarships for school listed first. So with all the schools they put down, they will be reviewed for that, for all three
Yes.
schools. But the number one choice, the first one is where they'll be reviewed for honors and then for scholarships.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Speaking of scholarships, this question is about criteria for scholarship, or if you could just share a little bit about information about that.
Sure. We are not an institution that has a clear cutoff on scholarship. I can't say if you have this test score and this grade point average, you will receive a scholarship. The review is much more comprehensive than that. We are reviewing students very holistically for scholarship. So, of course, grades and the rigor of the coursework matters to us, but we're also looking at their essay, the extracurriculars that they've listed. Students would only receive a scholarship if they applied to honors. So we're paying close attention to that additional supplement that they're submitting for the honors college consideration. So there really is no specific criteria that I can share. I think the best advice that I can give when we look at the profile of students that are being admitted to the honors college academically, if you look at our middle 50% admission profile on our website, the students who are receiving scholarship and honors offers tend to fall above the middle 50% ranges. So they are our highest achieving students academically, who also, are showing some excellence outside of the classroom as well. And I can go ahead and share in the chat that profile. Oh, do you have the ability to push it out, Shannon?
Yes.
Okay. I just listed there.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Next question. So knowing that, you all get many applications for international students, and it is fairly competitive. Is there any additional criteria or things that would help a student receive admission? Anything that our agencies can help students prepare for?
Again, I really don't think that there's sort of a specific thing that I can share, no je
Sure.
ne sais quoi, about, one extracurricular or one thing that students have to do in order to be a successful Rutgers student. I will say, certainly we're looking at for strong academics and for students who are opting for rigorous coursework where applicable. So, taking opting for an IB program if that's an option at the school and so on.
Mhm.
We are also looking for students who are involved. I think, because we are such a large institution, students who are successful here are the kind of students who have always sort of had a pretty busy life, both inside and outside of the classroom, and are able to balance those social engagements or extracurricular engagements along with their academic excellence. But beyond that, I think the most important thing that we can do is make sure that students are being honest with themselves when it comes to the application process. We can very quickly tell when a student has not submitted their own essay, when it's been assisted by AI or perhaps by adults in the room that might be assisting them. And I really think that the most important thing we can do in the application process is set students up for success. So that they will be in a position to do well once they get to the university, right? Because at that point they're going to be having to do all the work themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Next question. What are some support systems in place at Rutgers for international students to be successful?
Sure. We of course have a huge and comprehensive international student and scholar support services office. So they of course offer immigration advising, but also act sort of as a liaison for students to connect them with a variety of different support services on campus. We have a specific living learning community open only to international students. So this is an option for them to perhaps live, guarantee that their roommate would be another international student as well as all the other students on their floor. So that tends to be a popular option for students, sort of a great way to sort of ease the transition, to know that whoever you're living with is also sort of going through a similar transition as you. Other things that we have in place, tons of workshops that we offer specific to international students. I mentioned that we have specific advisors in our career center that work only with international students. We have a pass-fail one-credit class called Are You Fit? That stands for Rutgers University First Year International Student in Transition. And so this is a class that's taught by a faculty member or a staff member on campus, but it's also co-led and co-taught by a peer advisor. So these are mostly international students who are in their junior or senior year, who are looking to sort of help assist other international students with that transition. And that course, just shares with students different support services on campus, teaches them how to use the library, how to find the research centers on campus. They have a crash course in American football, so they can sort of teach students the rules and things like that. So it's a great way, of course, to get access to a better understanding of some of the supports that we do offer to international students and all students on campus. But I think it's also just a great way for students to meet an upperclassman mentor who might be able to help support them as they start to navigate, a different environment and such a large institution.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I know you touched on SAT. The question is SAT mandatory for UG courses? I know you said it's optional for fall 25. Is spring 25 included in that? It is also optional.
Oh, yes, of course. Yep. Optional
Okay,
up until that point. And then at this stage, we're not sure what the plan will be for
sure.
fall or spring 26.
Okay. So everyone, please note, as of now, it's optional for spring 25 and fall 25. All right, I did share a link earlier. This next question is, which majors are still open for spring 25 intake? I know there's that link that we have, Sarah. Would that be the best one I can share that in the chat, the application dates and deadlines?
That would be perfect. And I'm just happy to share that for first year students, only the School of Arts and Sciences. And for our transfer applicants, the School of Arts and Sciences, the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, and the School of Engineering are all taking applications for transfer students, also management and labor relations and planning and public policy as well. At this point, it is a space available basis, so that could change at any time. And we encourage you to take a look at the application, the link that Shannon's going to be sharing that has all of the different the charts that will show you which applications are still available.
Yes. All right. Perfect. Thank you. And I did go ahead and share that in the chat so everyone can look in the webinar chat and find that link. All right. Thank you. How many essays does Rutgers require?
We ask for a regular, personal statement or college essay. There are a few prompts that students can choose from, or they can just use the open prompt, whatever they'd like to share with us. And then there is that supplemental essay for students that would like to be considered for honors and for scholarship. That's it.
Okay, perfect. And another question about the deadline for January. I know you've gone over this again. Do you mind just sharing it again?
Happy to share just once again, there is, the best I can say is October 1st, which is already passed. There is no expected date of when we will close the application. It depends on space availability. So keep an eye on the website. And of course, if you have students that might be interested, we of course encourage them to apply sooner than later in order to ensure that they can be considered for any programs that they might be interested in, and of course have plenty of time to make it here for the January start.
Perfect. And Sarah, that reminded me, would you mind just talking a little bit about the deferral process and whether that's even an option? I believe in one of your emails you touched on that, and I think it's important to share.
Yes, yep. So we do not allow students to defer from the spring semester to the fall. So no deferrals for any students who have applied for spring. If you're looking to be considered for fall, you will have to reapply to the university. For fall, students are able to request a deferral for a full academic year. So again, they can't request a deferral from fall to the next spring. It would need to be from fall semester to fall semester. Transfer students are never allowed to defer their admission. So they, regardless of semester, a transfer student would need to submit a new application to Rutgers if they wanted to come for a subsequent semester.
Okay, very, very helpful to understand that process. Thank you. Are there undergraduate research opportunities, competitive as they are, available at Rutgers?
Yes, I think I touched on this. We have a whole department that assists students with finding research opportunities. So yes, absolutely, lots of them. And we encourage students to get involved as early as they feel ready to.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see. Many students look to have jobs on campus, of course, and later internships and job placements. Are there on-campus job and career fairs held at Rutgers?
Yes, yep. We offer several career fairs throughout the year, some that are going to be large. Career fairs open to students in all majors and academic areas, some that might be more directed to students in a particular program. We, of course, also offer on-campus job fairs where all of the departments that are hiring students, student workers will come set up a table, and students have the ability to walk around and sort of see who's interested in hiring students. So yes, lots of opportunities there. And we, again, encourage students to get involved as early as they feel ready to do so.
All right, perfect. Let's see here. The next question is focused on graduate. We are only discussing undergraduate, and just so everyone knows, we only have undergraduate majors on the Shorelight application. Let's see here. Is for a transfer student, is there any reason, is there any reason that they would take longer to review when a student's a transfer student? And would they also be eligible for any scholarships? And then is a third-party evaluation required for transfer students?
All good questions, and I'm glad that this question was asked because I realized that the slide about the application deadlines didn't talk at all about the transfer deadlines for fall. So thank you for asking. For spring, no, transfer students can receive the decision on the same timeline as a first-year applicant. The deadline is the same. For fall applicants, the preferred deadline for transfer students is February 1st. So transfer students should not expect to receive a decision until sometime in March from the university. So the timeline is slightly later. We do not offer scholarships to transfer students unless they are attending a New Jersey community college. And we also do not require an evaluated copy of the transcript at the time of admission. That may be required. So our evaluation process for credit transfer is done specifically by the enrolling schools. So for example, the School of Engineering may ask for an evaluated transcript if they feel it's necessary, but it's not something that we require at the time of admission, and frankly do not require for most students. It's a rare exception that an evaluated copy of the transcript would be requested. We also don't accept them for admission purposes. We want to see the original copy of the transcript.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. Very, very helpful information about the transfers process. All right. Is there a maximum number of major changes a student can do while studying at Rutgers?
No, I don't think that there is necessarily a maximum, but of course, as with all schools, you know, the more that you change your major, the more likely it is that you'll be extending your path to graduation, right? But this is part of the reason why we at Rutgers don't admit students directly to a major in the first place. We ask students to come into the school and take coursework in a few different areas that they might be interested in studying, and then make up their mind about what they'd like to decide. I would say most students will determine their major by the end of their first year, but some, you know, it's okay for students to wait until the end of their second if they're truly unsure. I'll also say, while I didn't attend Rutgers, I changed my major 4 times when I was in college and still graduated on time. Didn't have to take a single summer course. So students will be just fine as long as they do that exploration early.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. We did discuss this question. Can a student then do spring 25 to spring 26 deferral, which the answer is no. No deferrals.
No deferrals for spring.
Mm-hmm. Everyone, remember that. No deferrals for spring. All right. Let's see. Are there any business STEM degrees available? Do you know?
We do have one business major that is STEM designated. That's the Business Analytics and Information Technology major.
All right, business analytics and information technology major. Okay, perfect. All righty. So a Shorelight application question for me, I'll take this one. What are the required documents? So Shorelight is doing a screen of applications. And so we will require the transcripts of all schools attended and the English test score. The English proficiency test score. So those are the 2 things that we will require to do our review, to calculate, to do the international credential evaluation, calculate the GPA, and determine if the student meets the GPA criteria for them to then apply to Rutgers directly. So those documents, transcripts and English proficiency test score, if the student is eligible and meets the GPA requirement when they apply directly to Rutgers, that's when they will be required to submit any other supplemental documentation as well. All right. Let's see.
I think you might have to take this last one too, Shannon, more focused on the Shorelight portal.
Yeah. A student's not allowed to defer the application from spring to fall. If we launch an application on the Shorelight portal, how can we apply for the next upcoming intake? So it would be submitting another application for another semester. So just instead of deferring, you just submit a new application for the new term. For instance, if they started in spring, or sorry, they didn't start, they had an application for spring, didn't end up going, they can't defer from spring to fall, but could submit a new application. So you would go ahead and just submit a new application on the Shorelight portal, and then the student would need to submit a new application to Rutgers directly. If you have further questions on that, please feel free to reach out offline, and we can touch base with our admissions team as well. Let's see. 2-step process. So it's a 2-step process with Shorelight. They must apply. Yes, everyone here, if there's I really would love for you to take away. Yes, please. We've been trying to get the word out. This has been in all of our training materials. Your Shorelight representatives know this from recruitment. So I ask for you to help spread the word in case there's still any confusion. It is a two-step process for Rutgers-New Brunswick, same as Rutgers-Camden. The process is apply to Shorelight first, submit that application. Again, once it's reviewed by our team and deemed eligible, the student will receive an email then instructing them to submit the Rutgers application directly. If there's only ever a Shorelight application done and no Rutgers app, the student is not ever going to be reviewed and they're not going to get a decision. So the Rutgers app has to be submitted. It has to be a complete app with all the required materials. Please do not apply via the Common App for the Rutgers app. And Sarah, if you want to touch on this at all, it needs to be the actual Rutgers app for Shorelight students, not the Common App. Is that correct, Sarah?
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, thank
So
you.
yes, two-step process, absolutely. All right, well, I think we made it through all of the questions that are there. So that was really great. So much helpful information, so many important things that we were able to touch on. I don't see, let's see, the advantages, one more question popped up of applying via Shorelight is you are getting that additional support from our recruitment team. We are also helping to screen for applications. That's one of the services that we offer, and it's one way that we're helping Rutgers-New Brunswick is also screening for students that meet the GPA criteria instead of just sending all students. And then there are other advantages as well. And please speak with your Shorelight representative on that as well to find out more. Your primary account manager, they will be able to share other advantages as well for applying via Shorelight. All right. And Sarah, on your website, does it have anywhere, some schools do and some schools don't, does it have anywhere a list of your STEM designated majors?
I don't believe that information is on the website, no, but it is on the brochure that we had shared with you guys, and I know that that was on some of the other information that we had shared as well. So hopefully
Okay.
there's an easy to find list.
Yes, I will search for that list. All right.
I
And
actually think it's
oh,
indicated on the website, on the Shorelight page,
that's
like
what
on
I
the
was just
academic
gonna
degrees.
check
Yeah.
and see. Yes, it is. It is indicated on the Shorelight application. I'm actually gonna put this in the chat for everyone as well. It'll show you which majors are STEM designated. So please check there. Sorry, getting back to my Q&A here. All right. I think that's it. All righty. Well, thank you, Sarah, so much. Truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for attending. If you have if you're working with students whose application is still incomplete on the Rutgers side, please, please, please. Please push them to get those applications complete and get their documents in as soon as possible. That would be very, very helpful. All righty. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, and I'll just do one quick plug here. Tomorrow morning, there is another webinar for Rutgers Camden this time. This is a Rutgers week. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, and that will be focused on graduate programs only. So another webinar tomorrow for Camden. So please sign up if you'd like to join. All righty. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your time. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And everyone have a wonderful day. A recording will be sent out of this as well. So you can go back and watch and find out all the information again. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.